Welcome to Beerfield Fantasy Football. Welcome to week 15 of the NFL season. Second to last week on our Sunday live streams, because if you play in week 17, you're wrong. I am Hot BFF, joined by Nick Sparts, who's been with me for the back half of the season, for the most part.
This is week 6 or so I've been back, I think.
Yeah, it's been nice. It's been good to have you. Feel like you're more right than we are.
Maybe I have that 20,000 feet view or something.
Maybe you're. Yeah, you think about it less. I don't know. So yeah, you just said you got a lot of your wild card teams bounced. You have
and bad luck too, because one of them I lost by 3, and it was because Parker put up a 0 spot, and it was
bad beats.
But it happens. Bad
beats indeed. Hopefully yesterday's games went well for y'all. Generally speaking, if you have the Bills for example, you did all right. If you have Melvin Gordon, you got a running back in garbage time, which is rare. So be thankful for that. So we're gonna go ahead and get into some of the news ahead of this week, and Beerfield FF on Twitter, Beerfield Fantasy Football on YouTube, which you know because you're here. And let's go ahead and start in with some of the news. Julio Jones going to miss this week. He's fighting a nagging hamstring injury. Calvin Ridley will assume lead role. Russell Gage has been getting the majority of the target work in Jones's absence. They do play the Buccaneers, so not the best matchup, but Bucs are still a bit weak in the secondary, despite the front seven being very good.
It'll be just Ryan have enough time, almost.
Yeah. Calvin Ridley, though, most of the target volume. Devonte Parker is expected to play this week against the Patriots. That is not a great matchup. Mike Gesicki also has a chance of playing. Still considered questionable. Have not seen an update on that yet. I'd assume we'll get one a little bit later in the show. Without Parker, Parker's there. What does this do to Lynn Bowden, who a lot of people were looking at as a spot start? It doesn't kill him. Parker, you figure, is going to pull Stephon Gilmore at this point. So I don't know that it kills Bowden, but it definitely does cap your upside there. I'd avoid Miami if I could in this one. James White expected to play for the Patriots against the Dolphins this week. That's Damian Harris out, so James White is the back I want to start. Sonny Michel's not done jack shit for jack shit.
And Burkhead's still on IR.
And Burkhead's still on IR. So James White's the guy there. Jimmy,
go.
Sorry,
30-point Sonny Michel game in.
Yeah,
just to fuck with all.
Just
of
to
us.
spite me. Jimmy Graham going to play against the Vikings today, despite dealing with a hip injury. At this point, Jimmy Graham's touchdown dependent. Not that he hasn't been all season, but that's all you're hoping for.
I was going to say that's not a recent development.
Yeah, Cole Kmet's been getting most of the between the 20s work. Evan Ingram expected to play this week versus the Browns. Daniel Jones is going to be out. So Colt McCoy is going to start in his place. A lot of intermediate stuff coming out of that one. Outside of Gallman, maybe avoid. I mean, you've been able to throw against the Browns, I guess. So you could look at a spot start, but you're not going to feel good about it, and it's not the time to be doing things you don't feel good about.
Yeah. I mean, Giants offense in general just good.
Yeah.
It's their defense has been.
Morning, Alex. Here's Darren. All right. Hollywood Brown activated for the COVID-19 list. He's going to play Week 15 against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's missing literally their secondary. They are without their top 3 cornerbacks, so Trey Herndon, DJ Hayden, CJ Henderson, as well as potentially their 4th cornerback, Chris Claybrooks. They're down to something called a Greg Mabin and a Josiah Scott. So, while the matchup's good, it is the Ravens' passing game. So, take that for what you will. Which isn't much, FYI. James Conner officially questionable against the Bengals. It's a Monday night game. Given how bad James Conner has been and how much the Steelers have struggled to run the football, for you, Nick, is this just a find somebody else? Don't even risk it.
Yeah, the spots I've got Connor. He's probably you have a strong enough option if you've made it this bench him.
Yeah. All right, questions starting to roll in. With no Gesicki, I have to choose between Hollister and Fells. Gross, I know. Hollister. So, didn't see Gesicki's been ruled out yet.
I had not heard.
I had not seen that Gesicki's been ruled out yet. He was questionable as of this morning.
The latest report is he has a real chance to play.
Right. So,
and they're a noon game, I believe. So
we should know here soon.
Let's wait till it
not,
happens.
is Dan Arnold available? Have we done this already? Hollister, I guess. Parker and Gesicki ruled out. Last I had was Parker's in. Can you?
Oh, I just got a Fantasy Life alert.
Did you?
Yeah. Gesicki, Parker, Grant are all out.
Okay, so that changes because there was a report early this morning that Parker was going to play from Cameron Wolf, so that's apparently changed. Okay, so that is worth discussing then. I mean, you're still not playing anything out of Miami if you can help it, so that's a discussion. As far as is Dan Arnold available? Otherwise, it's Hollister, I guess. All right, moving on. Hurts or Rivers this week. So Jalen Hurts draws Arizona, and Phillip Rivers has Houston.
It's Rivers.
It's Rivers. Yep. Although you are going to get rushing floor out of Jalen Hurts, so
true.
Went for 100 yards.
I don't know that he does that again, because teams will probably be scheming for that more. At least I hope. And Arizona's front seven is solid.
Yeah, it's solid, especially if they can get Buda Baker going. Rivers is going to be your safer bet. So a lot of times what we'll say here is look at your matchup. Do you need ceiling? If you need ceiling, play Hurts. If you don't need ceiling, go with Rivers. He's going to be fine. So I think that's the way you play that one. Because I think that you get a lot more ceiling out of Hurts' rushing upside. Big Ben, Rivers, or Trubisky. Ben has the Bengals. Trubisky's got the Vikings. I think that Bears-Vikings game is going to be fun. I'm going Trubisky in that one. Been the QB9 since he took back over as a starter.
Rivers has such a good matchup.
Great game last week. No Kendricks. Rivers has a good matchup, but Rivers, I think we looked at it last week, has had about one game where you felt great about starting him. It might be two after last week. Let me go look. Yeah, Rivers has still only had one game where you feel great about starting him. Sorry, three games. One since week 8.
Was it against Houston?
Green Bay. Last time out against Houston, he was fine, 285-2, but it's not, that does qualify as just fine,
I mean, that's almost 20 points. That's solid.
Been just fine all year, but I think that you're going to get a little bit more than just fine out of Mitch. I know, again, Rivers is a safe play in a lot of scenarios, but I expect Bears-Vikings game to have a decent amount of points. You get no Kendricks. The Bears look to be missing some pieces in the secondary.
All right. I'm still on Rivers' side, but I do see the attraction of Vikings as well.
Yeah, I'm Trubisky there, Darren. Jared King, PPR, Michael Pittman versus Houston, Sterling Shepard versus Cleveland, or Lynn Bowden versus New England. It's Pittman for me. Not Bowden or Bowden. Even with Parker out, it's not Bowden.
I mean, it's not just Parker out; it's everybody's out. This is
it's a good New England secondary.
It's a Chad Hansen situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still probably Pittman, but Bowden is.
Yeah, I'm staying off of that. It's just good New England secondary. And Bowden being first-year player who wasn't a wide receiver in college. He was running back that ran a ton of routes, if I remember right. So, and Grant, no one's available. It's our Dynasty League. No, I don't like Durham Smythe any better. JD happy he gets out of playing Gesicki again. Yeah. Yeah, I would be too. All right. Keeping it moving. I want to look at Lindbergh. I just know that New England's been locked down, especially on slot guys. Yeah, I can't bring myself to like it. I just can't. I wanted to. I tried to earlier this week too, and I still couldn't do it. All right, where did I leave off now? I really need to start leaving a cursor in places. David Johnson, going to play for Houston. Duke Johnson's going to miss the week with a neck injury, so David Johnson, running back 2, he's the only guy.
Not a great matchup, though.
Yep. Michael Thomas placed on IR, so he's done for the season, mercifully, for anybody that's a Michael Thomas owner. If you drafted him in redraft, apologies, you went way too high.
I own him in Dynasty.
I traded him in one Dynasty league.
It's been a rough season. Thankfully, I'm still in the semi. Despite his
best efforts
this season.
So, Saints go up against the Chiefs. Expect Kamara to be heavily involved. Drew Brees is back. It's not a bad game to make an Emmanuel Sanders spot start if you need it. Zeke Elliott expected to play against the 49ers. That is another swerve week on Zeke. Niners pretty good run defense. Zeke has not been good, and he's dealing with the calf injury still. Damian Harris out against Miami. We already talked about that. Brandon Allen not going to play Monday night, so Ryan Finley's starting for Cincinnati. If you need something even uglier than Brandon Allen starting,
It's going to be real bad.
Yeah,
I'm not excited about.
Any chance Johnny Smith could go off today? Other options are Hayden Hurst, Dan Arnold, Tyler Eifert.
Well, yes, there's a chance Johnny could go off today. I don't really think any of the other good options.
We know what's happened the last couple times Nick has besmirched Dan Arnold.
Elliott is inactive.
Is he inactive? All right. Well, that's another new development. Did that just come out? Okay. So for those that don't know, these notes were put together about an hour before the show starts. So you got all this speculation flying around from like Friday and stuff about who's going to play and who's not going to play. So apparently sitting Elliott, no reason to put him in any more risk. Tony Pollard I actually like a lot better in that matchup.
He's also just looked better this year.
Yeah.
May actually be worse for me starting the.
Yeah, I actually think that I go from don't start Zeke to, go ahead and play Pollard, which is weird to say, but I think that's how that swings for me. Back to Johnny Smith, though. He hasn't really gone off, per se, this year. Week 2. Sorry, he went off in week 2 by tight end standards. But, I mean, other than that, you've been essentially below 50 yards. He hasn't put up a week above 40 yards since week 6. So you're hoping for a touchdown. There's always a chance that anybody could go off, but I'm not on. I don't know, given the recent trend, that Johnny Smith is going to give you a blow-up game. Meanwhile, Dan Arnold has 3 touchdowns over the last 2 weeks. So, I mean, you're pretty much hoping touchdown whichever way you go, and I think Arizona's targeting Dan Arnold a bit more in the red zone. So, Dan Arnold for me? I think that was a really long way of saying that.
Yeah.
And I may be saying that just to spite you, too.
Probably. I'm still going Jonnu. It's against the Detroit Lions, who are totally beat up and tight ends.
Yeah.
Jonnu's, I think he's the highest or second highest scoring touchdown rate among Tanyan. I think is the only better.
Yeah.
Tanyan.
Yeah.
Gotta pick 2 twice. Pick one of.
Yeah, I don't care about Mark Ingram being active. Okay.
Well, it helps for Dobbins, right?
Yeah. He was inactive last week too. And then I think he had like 1 carry the week before. Ayuk or Terry McLaurin?
I think it's Ayuk. I love Lauren's matchup, but Ayuk's been fucking money.
Dwayne Haskins starting again too, so we know that McLaurin during his blow up and breakout last year was with Dwayne Haskins under center, but Ayuk with no Debo has been very, very good. Game script wise, Niners, Cowboys, or you've got, I forget what I was doing now. Oh, Washington. Where the hell are they? Seattle. I think game script wise, Washington's gonna have to throw more. So that's the break. I'm going McLaurin on that one. Ayuk's been very, very good. I don't think you can go wrong either way. But McLaurin with Haskins back under center against a Seattle team that figures to be able to score. We know that Washington's defense has been very, very good. Russell Wilson's good at avoiding a pass rush. I don't know how else to put it. So, I like McLaurin at game script. I think that Washington's playing from behind in that one. The other question in there was Miles Sanders or DeAndre Swift. Sanders has looked a lot better last week with Jalen Hurts taking pressure off of them, being able to stack the line, having to worry about him. I think I like Sanders a bit more than Swift. Swift has been good all year, but more often than not, Swift has been very touchdown dependent, especially in the timeshare situation.
Yeah, and his usage has been so. Yeah, I'll go.
Yeah, it has been. The 2 weeks before his injury was finally getting up into the teens in carries, and last week, new head coach, just 7 touches coming off of injury. So, 7 carries. Sorry, it was 11 touches coming off of injury, just 50 yards in total,
which isn't terrible,
and a touchdown. So it's not terrible, but I think you get more out of Miles Sanders. How confident are you in Mostert this week, fresh off the injury report, but a great matchup?
I mean, you're starting him strictly for the upside. There is not a lot of confidence. Limped off the 3 times this game.
Yep.
So yeah, you're absolutely risking him.
I'm confident if he doesn't get off the field, he's going to have a huge game.
Yeah, he'll get the touches if he's healthy. But I mean, for some reason with 49ers running backs, they just.
Yep. Half PPR need 2. J.K. Dobbins, Jonathan Taylor, David Johnson, Chris Carson. I'm going to throw David Johnson out of that because I think he's a floor play entirely.
I think it's the first.
Dobbins and Taylor. Yeah, I'm with you. Carson's been still managed to be very, very solid, but again, he's that type of floor play. Rashad Penny is back this week too. So,
and they're facing football team, which
solid run defense. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think it's the first 2. It's Taylor and Dobbins.
Especially with no Ingram this week.
Yep. All right, let me make sure there's nothing that's changed here since Jakeem Grant inactive. We knew that. Colts inactives are in. There are no surprises there. Bears are going to be without Buster Skrine and Jalen Johnson, so they are missing 2 of their top 3 cornerbacks. Great news for Justin Jefferson. The fact that both of them are out. D-Lane, you'd expect, is probably going to be mostly blanketed by Fuller, but probably not because he'll move in the slot more often. So, yeah, they'll move him around a lot like they did Diggs too. So, I mean, it's just an overall upgrade. They're also that Deion Bush, who's kind of their first up backup safety. So, Bears being down in their secondary is great news for that matchup for the Vikings.
All right, Alex is saying he actually didn't have Taylor, so it's probably Dobbins Carson then, right?
Yeah, it's Dobbins Carson if he didn't have Taylor. Don't worry, I do that too. You're in a lot of leagues, that happens.
Rivers or Tannehill? Got to be Tanny, right?
I think that's got to be Tannehill. Well, Yeah, I think it's got to be Tannehill. Stafford's starting for the Lions. We'll see how long that goes, but I think that's got to be Tannehill. Although, again, I don't think you could necessarily go wrong with either. I wouldn't be surprised if those two aren't separated by more than 5 points at the end of the day. Football teams without Antonio Gibson. We knew that was coming. So that's just another knock on them. Don't know that they're going to run a whole lot anyway, but that's another reason that you figure they're just going to have to throw them because you're not going to rely on Peyton Barber. So they'll get McKissick involved.
Yep, they will. You'll see a lot of McKissick passing work. He's not bad in a full PPR. Half probably being.
Yeah. We talked about Gesicki, Parker, Elliott, Alexander Madison is back. Yeah, Mike McCarthy even expected Zeke to play, so I feel less bad about that, although maybe I don't because it's Mike McCarthy. So Brandon Allen, Ryan Finley talked about that. Matt Stafford is playing through torn rib cartilage today. Apparently could barely walk on Sunday. I'd expect him to be limited. I mean, throwing a football with torn rib cartilage is something that I'd imagine is pretty painful.
Yeah, I don't expect a lot of deep shots.
No, I don't either.
Probably the only pass catcher I want. Probably Hawkins.
Yeah, Hawkinson, and then you're okay with the running backs, like we said. Swift, I think, is going to give you a fine game. It's, so don't shy away from him, or even Swift Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, it'll be Swift, Peterson, and Hawk. I think weapons used. I don't expect the game.
Yep. Some defensive news. Darius Slay and Devontae Maddox both out for the Eagles. So they're missing their top two cornerbacks against Arizona.
Use that or I got bounced out of
right. So it's up for Murray, up for Hopkins, up for
Kirk as well.
Yep. Rashad Penny expected to return to play this week against Washington. Don't get cute with that. The only thing that does is that if you had been, also relying on Carlos Hyde being quietly a flex play, don't do that this week. It's been kind of quiet, but Penny is back. More news. Ravens are going to be without cornerback Jimmy Smith. Marcus Peters is questionable and did not practice all week, so we'll see how that goes. But that's a big upgrade for DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault, Keelan Cole, all of who saw 9 or more targets last week. So, Jacksonville wide receivers are sneaky plugins if maybe you're missing Julio or you're missing Michael Thomas. Eric Kendricks is out this week versus Chicago, so that's an up for David Montgomery, which he's looked very good since Mitch took back over. So, big news from David Montgomery there. Denzel Ward is out against the Giants, so he's been out since week 11, but the Browns' defense has not looked particularly good. Brandon Cooks is back this week for Houston against Indy. That being said, Brandon Cooks is a start. I lost my spot again. There it is.
Terry McLaurin or Corey Davis?
McLaurin.
Though
I like Davis too, but yeah, it's McLaurin.
And Wayne Gallman or David Johnson, full PPR.
Ooh, Gallman? That's close, but
yeah,
probably a lot closer than it should be.
Not sure who that says.
I'm not either, because it's kind of an indictment on Johnson and a compliment to Gallman.
I think it is Gallman.
Better matchup.
Neither's good. Gallman. Then JD. I guess that's McKissick or Pollard.
Pollard. Absolutely Pollard. At point PPR, start one. One running back, one flex. Swift, Dobbins, Woods, and Hilton. So we need to pick a running back and pick a flex. So let's just do it this way. Swift or Dobbins. Dobbins and Woods or Hilton. Hilton's been great the last couple weeks.
Or we could do Swift in that spot too.
Or we could do Swift.
I think it's Woods against.
You think?
Passing is their weak.
So it is, but my argument anytime you look for a passing game to blow up against a team like the Jets is they don't score points, so you don't have to keep throwing.
So it has to all be in the first
It's
half.
got to all be in the first half, and it's got to all be to Woods. So, how confident are you in that? Where the last 3 weeks you've got 4 touchdowns out of T.Y. Hilton, and he's been over 80 yards.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree. And even Swift, Woods, Hilton, I think are all in the same. Dobbins is. I'm
sitting on Hilton. You're with Dan. I know Dan would say Robert Woods in this situation because I had the same discussion with him on Tuesday as well. I just am not confident in the fact that all of the Rams scoring is going to go through Robert Woods in the first half before they're up by 2 touchdowns.
I can definitely see that. I mean, outside of the New England game, that we're all.
Yeah.
10 for 85, 7 for 80, and.
Look at those scores too. You also, Tampa, 3-point game. San Francisco, 3-point game. 10-point game against Arizona that they ended up winning, but 38-28, so high scoring. So, New England.
Think all three have some risk to them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I've linked.
Yeah. I'm just looking at what they've done in games that they won relatively handily. He had 5 targets, 3 receptions against Chicago. They won by 2 touchdowns. He had, 37-19 all the way back in week 2. He had 5 targets, 2 receptions. The New England game, they won handily. He had 8 targets, 5 receptions, 32 yards. So just looking at what they've done in games that they've won by a decent margin. So, okay. So we settled that. Where did that question go? Holy cow. Okay, there it is. So Hilton and Dobbins, I think, is what we landed on there.
Dobbins in the RB2 and Hilton is the
higher upside, Russell Gage or Antonio Brown? Gage. Rivers over Stafford as a QB2, yes.
No question.
Yeah, no question.
And JD's egging him on.
Yeah. Rivers over torn rib cartilage Matt Stafford, who could barely move last week.
Jared's asking, what do we think of Cam Akers?
I love Cam Akers this week.
It's a little bit of a tough matchup. Don't allow a lot of yardage, but I expect volume to be there. I expect. So he should get plenty of volume. It may not be a blow-up game for him, but it should at worst.
Yeah, another guy that's really just put together a good 3-week stretch. So you're playing trends in game script that favors him. So
Dobbins, Swift, or Sanders in every single one of these questions, and now we have one that includes all 3.
I think so.
Dobbins
and Sanders.
Swift is the one I'm avoiding because got a hurt quarterback, could go down, volume's been.
Yeah.
So give me the 2 guys who on teams that should win or at least be competitive.
Yeah. Yep, and again, it's not an indictment on Swift. I think Swift is fine if you have to start him. It's just you have 2 better options there.
I'm looking forward to Swift having a coaching system healthy.
And Kenny Golladay back, too. That would probably help.
That would probably help as well.
Yeah, because Kenny Golladay is out again. Just go ahead and get that one off there. Dolphins running game. We're waiting to hear about this. Salvin Ahmed questionable. Myles Gaskin was still out on the COVID-19 list. No word on him being activated as of the time this was written. Let me go double check now because as soon as I say that, something's going to break. That's the way it's gone this morning. Matt Stafford is officially active, by the way, so they're not pulling that back anytime soon. Marcus Peters is inactive. We talked about that earlier. So Ravens without their top two cornerbacks. Salvin Ahmed is active, so, and he is the only one.
Yep.
So Ahmed's a running back too, but he will play. That's what I was going to look for.
Yeah, not in a matchup for probably a low.
Yeah, Drew Brees is starting. We talked about the Bears being without cornerbacks. David Njoku and Austin Hooper both questionable for the Browns. So if Harrison Bryant is floating around, we'll wait to see official inactives there, but they're both questionable.
Not sure I'd get that cute unless it's tight end premium.
Yeah. Or you're in desperate need of a tight end, which, that happens. We already talked about Antonio Gibson not playing. Alex Smith is out, so Dwayne Haskins is starting for the football team. That's good news in a way for Terry McLaurin, not because I think Haskins is that much of an upgrade, but because
He'll force
they have rapport. Yeah. And we talked about the Jaguars cornerback room. So
Winston is on COVID.
Oh. Is he? Busy crying about Gesicki, Gibson, and Julio. Well, cheers to you. Evan Ingram is active.
Yep, that was
expected to play. It's a Sunday night game, not official yet, but expected to play.
Ryan wants to know flex one of Terry McLaurin, Montgomery, or
a good problem to have. Montgomery?
Yeah, no Kendricks.
No Kendricks. He's been really good since Trubisky took back over.
Should be a close game.
A close game that I expect to be relatively high scoring. I hope that game's as fun as I think that game's going to be. The only thing that would make it more fun is if we weren't dealing with COVID and I was watching it with you guys in a bar.
Proper amount of talking in.
Yeah. Not confident because in Haskins. Well, I mean, it's Montgomery anyway, but I mean, McLaurin's blow up.
Is that true he doesn't get his looks?
I don't think so.
Target's volume was healthy last year. I think it's healthy to start.
Yeah, let me go back and double check this, but yeah, I mean, Haskins played first. McLaurin was 7, 10, 8, 14, 7, 12, 11. What week was Haskins benched?
Checking here.
He's been
he was benched after week.
So he was benched after week 4. So
7, 10,
8 and 14. And then since week 9, he's been down in single digits. And overall, his target volume is up this year, but he only played 14 games. Yeah, I don't know that there's necessarily correlation there, honestly. I'll go back and look at his 2019 log. They didn't throw as much last year either. Only hit double-digit targets once. Only hit double-digit targets once last year, but the overall result was.
Yeah, and as long as he's up 8+, I don't need him to be at 14.
Right.
If they want to throw it to him 14 times, I'm all for it. But
yards per reception was higher with Haskins too. It's hard looking at this too to also attribute to what was quarterback versus what is just growth. Also.
Yeah, and if teams are continuing coverage, that may change target volume.
Because year 1 versus year 2 or quarterback versus quarterback. But looking in the same season, he was, getting wide receiver 1 type volume with Haskins before Haskins was benched. His volume didn't really fall off really until Alex Smith took over.
It seems to be the one to spread it around more specifically. Haskins.
Yeah, he does. He doesn't force it downfield quite as much. And I believe Alex Smith taking over. Fun little exercise because we got time to kill.
Whenever Allen got hurt.
Right, which was conveniently, though it was November 8th is when Alex Smith took over, which is
it was week 9.
Week 9. which you've not seen Terry McLaurin have double-digit targets since then, whereas he had 5 games in double-digit targets in his first 8 until Alex Smith took over. So I don't think it's a true statement that he gets less look with Haskins under center. I think it's a true statement that he was getting less looks with Alex Smith under center. Just looking at the numbers here.
And he hasn't broken 100 yards since Alex Smith started. All 100.
Right, 95, 84, 92, 14, 24. And you look at his target volume since Smith took over, 8, 9, 7, 9, 6, 6. The weeks before that, it was 7, 10, 8, 14, 7, 12, 11.
He was closer to the 9, 10 target range. I'm closer to the 7 target range.
Yeah.
Hopefully with Haskins back in, we get.
Indeed. And again, depth of target too. Haskins does have a bigger arm. So, and it's not like Seattle's got a fantastic pass rush, so depth of target could also go up. All right. We're 3 minutes until 11. Let's do a last call for questions here, and I'm going to do a last poll and see if there's anything new. Don't see anything new there. Let me go to Sleeper because I lost all trust in Roto World that week. They're behind on everything.
Oh, and they just upward.
Mark Ingram, healthy scratch. So.
That career.
Yep.
Fortunately, he was.
And even last year, too, it was a lot of fun, but 30-plus-year-old running back.
Now there's only a handful that.
Frank Gore.
And that's even Gore.
Well, yeah. Mark Ingram's 31. Frank Gore, on the other hand,
7, right?
37, I think. Yeah, 37. So, yeah, Frank Gore reaching the end.
And with all that, he's still going to finish with plus rushing.
Yeah, he will.
Only a single rushing touchdown, though.
That's the Jets.
It's right that it's.
He's got to retire this year, right? No, Frank Gore ain't going to retire. Frank Gore's going to make you not sign him. And got to make you force him out of the league. That's incredible. Peterson's, 33? 35. He's not too far behind old man Gore.
Not.
Not as consistent, though.
Peterson? Oh, no.
Yeah.
No way.
Like, Peterson fell off a cliff after he turned 30.
I mean, he was also the best running back. 30.
Well, that too. Gus Bus rolling. All right. Yeah, Gus Bus rolling indeed. I'm on the Gus Bus this week. Good luck, everyone. We will hopefully see most of you back here next week playing for championships. Happy holidays. Enjoy them safely. And we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, see you next week.